The statement claims you're wealthy, not in the future, but now, in tidy rows of numbers, in a curve so smooth it feels designed to comfort. In the first 5 seconds, it delivers certainty in a world that rarely provides it. And that's the first warning. Markets don't move smoothly without a reason. Each month, the same routine repeats, the same font, the same confidence, the same gentle gain, until repetition disguises itself as reality. Then the unsettling question creeps in. What if the fund isn't just losing money? What if it isn't there at all? There are no trades you can verify independently, no custodian report that doesn't circle back to the same group, no trace in the places real capital leaves evidence, clearing firms, counterparties, confirmed positions. Yet the wires go through, the PDFs appear official, the manager sounds calm, and calm is persuasive. The situation unfolds like all the worst scenarios do, with paperwork that feels like proof, but proof that can't be found anywhere except in the paperwork. To grasp how a fund can amass fortunes while remaining a ghost, you need to view modern finance as a maze of delegation. Custody is outsourced, pricing is outsourced, administration is outsourced, advice is outsourced. Each layer is sold as protection, but protection becomes a chain only as strong as the weakest link, and investors hardly see the links at all, just the headline, exclusive access. The strategy is too complex for outsiders, but too disciplined to fail. And the sales pitch doesn't sound greedy, it sounds like engineering. The fund offers something rarer than profit, emotional relief. While markets fluctuate, it glides. That smoothness becomes the hook that loops back into itself. If it's smooth, it must be managed. If it's managed, it must be real. The investigation kicks off with a brutal, simple question that no one likes to ask at dinner. Where exactly are the assets right now? The first clues usually don't resemble crime. They look like administration. A report arrives late, then it shows up corrected, as if truth has versions. A subscription document changes a paragraph, and everyone is told it's standard. A redemption request sparks enhanced compliance, followed by silence. Then a friendly explanation that sounds caring. Questions are met with prestige instead of proof, and the vocabulary acts like a velvet rope. Proprietary, confidential, institutional, special situation. Those terms don't clarify, they stifle curiosity. Then comes the strangest signal of all. The story is always more elaborate than the evidence. The manager can describe the strategy for 20 minutes, but can't produce a single independent record showing that the strategy ever touched a market. Once you notice that, the next loop is unavoidable. If proof is always being prepared, why is the performance always on time? Real funds leave traces, and traces are inconveniently independent. Trades generate confirmations from venues the manager doesn't control. Assets rest with custodians who provide statements you can verify. Pricing aligns, however imperfectly, with observable markets, and discrepancies can be explained with data, not charm. Cash movements reconcile in ways accountants can test. A phantom fund must mimic the entire ecosystem while preventing you from engaging with it. So it creates statements that look legitimate, valuations that update like clockwork, and explanations that always seem plausible. Complexity becomes a disguise. Derivatives, offshore entities, side pockets, bespoke notes, anything that makes outsiders feel unqualified to challenge the figures. The numbers behave like magic. Up months, down months erased, volatility smoothed into a polite line. The darker theory is that performance isn't the outcome, it's the marketing material, printed in advance to attract the next wave. By the time investors suspect something, the fund has already built a social structure that defends itself. It isn't just a product, it's a club. Early investors become keepers of the myth because their identity is tied to being smart enough to get in. Advisors safeguard their reputations, friends recruit friends. Every referral becomes quiet pressure to keep the story alive because admitting doubt would mean admitting harm. Secrecy turns into status. If you can't discuss it, it must be special. If outsiders don't understand it, that proves it's sophisticated. The fund fosters intimacy, private calls, tailored updates, selective access, so scrutiny feels like betrayal. And here's the most chilling loop. The more unbelievable the consistency, the more investors see it as a sign of genius instead of a reason to verify. A ghost fund doesn't just gather money, it gathers silence, one relationship at a time. Then comes the stress test that reveals every illusion, and it has a simple name: liquidity. A real portfolio manages withdrawals by selling assets, borrowing against them, or drawing from cash reserves, and the process is messy but explainable. A phantom portfolio handles withdrawals with new deposits, and that's its only fuel. So the fund starts shaping behavior long before a crisis. Investors are nudged to reinvest gains. Redemption windows shrink. Notice periods lengthen. Gates emerge. Lockups tighten. Exceptions become rare, always framed as caution, never as necessity. When markets turn chaotic and investors everywhere want cash simultaneously, the phantom faces the one request it can't fake: return principal. If the answers arrive as policy changes instead of payments, the inquiry sharpens into a single question: are these controls for risk management or life support? Now, look for the incentives that make smart people look away. Gatekeepers get paid whether the assets exist or not: fees for administration, commissions for placement, prestige for access, the quiet power of being connected to something elite. Oversight can degrade into a checklist. Did documents arrive? Did signatures match? Did reports look professional? Because professional is easier to verify than true. Even audits can fail when the auditor is weak, conflicted, overmatched, or simply fed confirmations routed through entities controlled by the same network. Regulators can be slow, fragmented, overwhelmed, or persuaded by the appearance of compliance. And each participant has a private reason to stay calm. Speaking up risks lawsuits, reputations, relationships, and revenue. So the hidden angle isn't just deception, it's convenience. A phantom fund thrives where doubt is costly and reassurance is profitable. When the phantom collapses, reality doesn't arrive as a neat confession, it arrives as delay. Withdrawals become pending, calls go to voicemail, emails receive warm replies that say nothing, explanations multiply like shadows: a temporary freeze, a technical glitch, a strategic restructure, a confidential counterparty that will make everyone whole. Some investors cling harder because acknowledging the truth would destroy not just money, but their identity, friendships, and years of certainty. Meanwhile, the paper world expands: statements, spreadsheets, claim forms, while the real world reveals a void where assets should have been, and silence where trades should have left records. Investigators ask for timestamps, confirmations, custodial statements. The responses are delays masked as process. And that's the moment the story shifts from finance to something darker. You realize the fund didn't fail to protect wealth, it may never have owned it. So the final mystery isn't just how a fund didn't exist, it's why it felt safer than the truth. Why does a smooth line calm us more than transparent risk? Why does secrecy feel sophisticated and complexity feel intelligent, even when complexity is often the easiest place to hide? Why do we treat consistent returns as virtue and volatility as sin, when volatility is often the honest mark of real markets? The unsettling conclusion is that the fund didn't need assets to exert power. It thrived as a story with invoices, as a social network with monthly rituals, as a belief system reinforced by paperwork that arrived on time. And this means the danger isn't just in the past. Somewhere another statement is being printed, another perfect curve, another calm voice, another promise asking you to trust the document more than the world. If a fund can be everywhere in conversation and nowhere in custody, the question isn't whether it will happen again. The question is how many are already happening right now, quietly, behind the same smooth line.